Ba-da-da-da-da-da. Dungeons and Dopamine. Ta-da! OMG, it's Dungeons and Dopamine podcast.
What?
I know. Episode 39. I'm Jess.
I'm Brie.
Hi, guys.
Welcome back.
We just talked about books.
For a long time.
We also found out today that we're going to MuskyCon.
Yay!
Which also means you should probably go to MuskyCon.
You should all go to MuskyCon, which is Muskegon's Comic-Con, if
Woo-woo.
you are confused by the language. So, Muskegon Comic-Con, or MuskyCon, will be happening in downtown Muskegon on March 16th. It is a Saturday.
Doors open at 10 a.m.
And this will this year be at the Van Dyke Mortgage Convention Center downtown. In the past it has been at the Delta Hotel, but this year it is at the Van Dyke Mortgage Convention Center.
It's going to be amazing.
There will be a ton of vendors, lots of stuff to buy. They're going to do panels, demos, they encourage cosplay, and we'll be there.
Which is pretty much the most important thing.
We're going to have prizes.
And bribery.
Yeah.
I think it was $5 last year is what I heard.
Yeah, that
To
sounds
get
right.
in. And kids under a certain age got in for free. So, like, there's nothing stopping you.
And it was packed last year. It was so cool. We spent 3 hours in there. And still, I'm not sure we saw all the vendors. We didn't go to any of the panels.
Of course,
so we were just
sure.
looking at the vendors. One of them had like trading cards of all. They do like costumes, and they had done cards of all these Star Wars characters. So there was like freebies for the kids. I bought a beautiful Middle Earth map that's on metal or aluminum.
It was embossed.
Yes.
Because during one of our episodes, you said it was embalmed.
So
I'll never forget
that would be awesome. My embalmed map.
So you guys have to come out and show people that we're like a big deal.
Yes. So they'll invite us back.
And so that next year we can do a live show.
Because wouldn't that be amazing?
Speaking of live shows, I got to go see, and that's why we drink live in Chicago.
There's so much dopamine this week.
I know.
I'm so excited.
So come and see us at Comic-Con. And after you finish listening to us and visiting us at Comic-Con, check out And That's Why We Drink podcast. Oh, it was so good. They were so good. They were supposed to do an 1.5-hour show. They ended up doing a 3-hour show.
That's amazing.
It was, we were in the front row, which is the first time I've sat in the front row for literally anything that wasn't like performed at our high school.
Which, not even sure we sat in the front row there. So
Yeah, maybe if I was watching them practice during theater or something.
Right?
It was amazing.
Yay.
So it like showed me the picture of our future.
So now we know what we're working towards. Live traveling podcast shows.
Yes. We are going to need finances.
Yes.
Speaking of finances, I
We
put
have
my
a
hand up in the air.
Jessica's raising her hand. You guys.
I want to talk next because I haven't stopped talking. We are on Patreon.
And if you want to hear our super cool book discussions, you can get those if you support us on Patreon.
Yes.
You can hear about other books we like to talk about.
You can tell us to stop doing things and we'll listen. We'll try. None of this is voluntary.
Gosh, what did I just watch? It was ridiculous, but there was snake jazz in it. It's Rick and Morty. I was watching Rick and Morty, which is why it was ridiculous. But it was all about snake jazz.
I accept this. Did you feel really at home?
I did. I was like, I can't wait to sing snake jazz to Jessica.
It was the best thing. It was the best snake jazz I've ever heard.
Yes.
I also just shoved a cookie in my mouth.
It was necessary.
Normally I'm just eating pretzels or chips. Today it's koala yummies. We're moving up in the world.
We are.
It's
we
that
are.
kind of day. So come visit us, Comic-Con, Patreon, live show. Make everyone think we're cool and make us feel like we're not losers.
Right. We'll have games or a game. We'll have prizes. We'll have merch. Hopefully a way that you can maybe order merch if you would like t-shirts or sweatshirts.
Stickers.
We'll have stickers so
And
you can
cards.
put it on your things.
I've been sticking our posters and cards up everywhere lately.
Yay.
Been finding places. We tried to find some in Chicago.
Oh, that would be cool.
They don't have bulletin boards in Chicago.
Really?
Not anywhere that we could see. And we figured like leaving them somewhere annoying, like with our waitress or waiter at a restaurant, was just gonna be like
The easiest way to get it toshed in the...
exactly
Toshed.
like garbage.
Yep.
I wouldn't. If someone left it for me, I'd be like, "What are you doing? Get a grip."
I want to listen to you less now.
Exactly. Do not listen to Dungeons and Dopamine podcast. Yeah. But they've gone up around the area. Grand Haven
Yay.
has one at the Rikes, and where did I just put up? So Carly finds them. And she's like, "Mom, look!" Remember, she and I were
That's
together
you.
last time. We put some up together.
That's awesome.
She's my little like. I don't
She's
know.
your little
media mogul.
spy master.
Sure.
She's great.
She did a great job.
She sees things and points them
She has
out.
eyes. She has eyes, even though she did ask me when I told her about Comic-Con. She said, "That's really cool, but what if no one comes?"
Like it would have been a full event, and then we got added to the list, and everybody was like, "Oh, never mind."
Forget it. Or they put us in like one of the broom closets.
The
and shut the
bathroom.
door. I figure people still have to go to the bathroom.
That's true. We'll at least get people that way.
Sir, sir, would you like a business card? You can scan this code and listen while you poop.
We will provide laughter for you during your morning times.
But that is true. We are a good poop show.
Right. You
We're
can
a
listen
good
to us anytime,
anytime show.
even in the
Aw.
bathroom.
We said at the same time.
We're good at
Dungeons and Dopamine magazine says listen always.
that.
Don't
Every moment
stop.
of every day. We're the best snake jazz artists you've ever heard.
That can be an article in Dungeons and Dopamine magazine. Okay, someday we're actually gonna start growing, and then we're gonna be like a big deal. For 1 year, instead of putting out like a calendar for our Patreons or something, we're gonna make a magazine.
Yes. A monthly magazine.
It's just gonna be a bunch of unreal articles about things like snake jazz.
And half-written things that I've written about my topics, but then don't finish because I'm just going to wing this part.
Or the topics you start and can't quite finish, like Ted Lasso.
Yeah, it'll be all about Ted Lasso and women in medical care and
Pedro Pascal.
Pedro Pascal.
Do you know what Dungeons and Dopamine kind of sounds like?
The dog man of Michigan.
I was gonna say a cult.
Oh,
But, you know.
I mean, we could start one.
We will.
I hear one of us is becoming an expert on cults.
So, my FBI agent is very concerned about me. He understands and sees that I'm going through something. So cults are weird.
What?
I know. You want to hear about some weird cults?
Always.
More than anything.
I have been looking forward to this for weeks.
All right. So today I literally have a list of cults. Weird cults.
It'd be weird if they weren't weird.
Yeah, these are the most normal, boring cults I found.
They're not even cults.
They file paperwork.
That's it.
Done.
That's all you have to do to join.
In fact, most of you probably accidentally have. So, these are in no particular order, but I just found them all very interesting. Now, I will say I'm not talking about the Manson cult, and I'm not talking about Jonestown.
We know those ones.
We know those.
And they're sad.
Also, oh yeah.
Most cults are probably sad.
No, not the glitter cult. Not the paperwork cult.
Those are nice cults.
They have no feelings at all. Glitter does. It's exciting.
Yeah, it's always happy.
I want to trigger warning very quickly, and it's not wildly inappropriate, but there are some crimes against children and some assaults and just things of that nature. I mean, I feel like with cults, you kind of expect that's coming.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting it to be puppies and rainbows.
Glitter and paperwork. So, if you are very uncomfortable or that is going to upset you, you may want to skip ahead to Bree's portion.
Which might be better. Might not. You don't know yet.
Bree's is talking about war crimes today. So, this is the first war crime.
I made a list of the saddest things I can imagine.
Did you know that Disney ran a bunch of lemmings off of a hill for the sake of a recording? So, this is going to be our new segue into the next. The music will slowly fade out, and then we'll snake jazz, and then it'll come back to us talking.
Yes.
I'm in. So, I started this off, by the way, just by writing cults are weird.
True.
That's all it says before I start talking about cults.
It's her whole topic. She just summarized it down to cults are weird, guys.
Cults are weird. And over to you.
Perfect.
All right, so the first cult is the Brethren cult. This was created in 1971 by Jimmy T. Roberts. And he thought that the church was too materialistic. And so he thought that his followers should sell everything they own and break all their relationships and travel to... It originally started with him at a compound or like a little piece of property. But they kept getting raided by the police. Yep. Because a lot of times they would make their members write letters to their families of like, I'm not going to be here anymore, but I can't tell you where I'm going. And then they would go to this property and live with Jimmy.
I don't feel like this was very well thought out, Jimmy.
You could have done better, Jimmy. So then they started to be vagrant and move around and try to stay away from police. They were also known as garbage eaters.
Ooh.
Because they so didn't believe in possessions that they would eat out of the garbages.
You know, I could give up possessions, but I would still want to eat good food.
Mm-hmm. Not out of a McDonald's dumpster.
Right.
And
okay.
Yeah, there's a lot more preservatives in our food now than in the 70s, and I feel like that means that they weren't eating very well preserved food.
No.
Like, there's an argument about how our food is so full of preservatives. If I had to eat it on the trash, at least it might still be good.
Right. Oh, okay.
So there's one.
Vagrant garbage eaters that, and that's just it. They just move around and eat garbage?
Yeah.
Okay. And refuse to own things.
Yes.
Got it.
Yep. They would get in trouble for like loitering and stuff like that because they didn't have anywhere to go. So the next is the Congregation for the Light, which sounds like a really nice church. And if you Google it, you can find It's in Manhattan, and you can go there.
We were in Manhattan.
We were. We could have literally walked up and sat down in this church.
I like lights.
So, it was created in the 1960s, but the teachings were written in the 19th century in England by a couple who had a dream and then woke up and wrote it down.
All right.
The Light's first leader during the 60s and 70s, his name was Morris Kate. And he believed that after Doomsday took place, members would be reincarnated on a planet called Nay and be genderless with no stomachs.
What?
No need to eat garbage. You're not going to have to eat it all.
You don't have a stomach.
They claimed that their followers were descended from a master Aryan race from Atlantis, and that humans once lived on the moon. Homosexuality is banned, corporal punishment is encouraged, and members atone for bad karma in past lives. Young women are denied higher education or are solely allowed to have education in New York under strict control. And they're often married off to older men in the group.
Great. That's the best kind of cult.
Yeah. And then weekly meetings for this group are supposed to be the most important thing in your life. You don't miss them. Never. For nothing.
I would get kicked out of that cult.
Immediately.
Be like, I can't be there. I have a headache.
I just don't want to.
I committed to it, and now I don't like it anymore.
Exactly that.
Just FYI, when we stayed in New York, we were not that far from the Congregation of the Light.
I wish we would have known. We could have gone and taken a picture in front of it. I'm so disappointed in us.
I am too.
We probably wouldn't have because we walked a lot and our feet.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
But
we had awful shoes. All of us had awful shoes.
All of us. We were dumb.
Yeah.
Okay. The Apostles of Infinite Love. Created in 1936, surprisingly, by Michael Collin. It became a compound of people who had to vow chastity and poverty.
That doesn't sound like any fun.
Well, they didn't. From 78 to 2001, they were sued for rape, extortion, and sexual abuse. A lot of this was on younger people, and now they're called the the Magnificat of the Mother of God.
Okay.
These make me so mad that it comes out as like joking laughter because they're so absurd.
Right.
This one you're gonna love the most. So a lot of the cults that I looked up were created a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
This one's called Love Has Won.
Oh, good. This is my cult.
This is not your cult. You take that back now.
Okay. Okay, it's not my cult.
This was founded in 2006-ish. It was sort of growing and morphing into this before that. So 2006-ish. There were about 12 core members. They all lived in Colorado and believed that their leader was over 20 billion years old. She had birthed all creation. She claimed she had been reincarnated 534 times, including as Cleopatra, Jesus, Joan of Arc, and Marilyn Monroe.
I like how Jesus is just thrown in there.
I know.
He's got long hair too.
Right.
It's fine.
It's fine. She's going to lead 144,000 people into the fifth dimension. They claimed that she was the queen of the lost continent of Lemuria. And the group believed that the Lemurians live within the Mount Shasta in California.
Mm-hmm.
The leader, Carlson, stated that Donald Trump was her father in a past life, and that she had spoken to the spirit of the deceased actor Robin Williams, and that he is an archangel named Zadkiel.
How?
Or Zadkiel?
How do you get to be the daughter of Donald Trump in a past life when Donald Trump and his children all seem to be living?
Yeah, that must have been his past life as well. Maybe he was Joan of Arc's father.
Obviously.
The only thing that tracks out of all of this. Or oh, wait, when was he born? Was Marilyn Monroe? Maybe he was born when Marilyn Monroe was. I don't know.
Marilyn Monroe existed when Kennedy was alive.
So, I don't know. He's pretty old.
Yeah, he's 70, 80. Anyway.
So, the group adopted elements of the QAnon conspiracies.
Oh.
Members have routinely expressed speculation that COVID-19 was planned, the Sandy Hook Massacre, 9/11, and the Holocaust were hoaxes. They claim that what society has been taught about the Holocaust is suspicious, and that Adolf Hitler's intention was to serve the light. This was continued by the claim that the Jews wanted everyone to do the work and take the money. And that the idea behind concentration camps was to teach them to work. So this witch got sick, and because of her own teachings, they wouldn't bring her to a hospital, and she died.
Darn. Poor her. Interesting. I wonder if you have to, like, drink her blood to join the cult, and that's what convinced all of these weirdos that this is...
They all got wildly confused. Mm-hmm. Maybe there was a, shoot, what's the word? A parasite in the water.
She put a parasite in their water to diminish their brain power.
You can't, like... Okay, anyway.
I just want to put in that I realized as you were talking about the Congregation of Light that I did actually read about them not that long ago. It's pretty crazy. Like,
they're wild.
The stuff you didn't mention is...
Yeah, these are very brief summed up.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I went on a little more about hers because she was crazy.
and it just kept coming.
But you can absolutely dig into these. If they sound mild, they're not.
Mm-mm.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
Kashi Asherim was founded in 1975, 1976-ish, so we're traveling back again, by a woman named Joyce Green, who later becomes Majaya. Her name is Joyce Green. That is the whitest white woman name ever. The
whitest, most common. Yes.
And now she's Majaya. She started amassing followers, and they believed in her so much that she was able to order marriages between her followers.
Oh.
So you're going to marry him, you're going to marry her. It's said that one woman went to the hospital with her husband and had their baby and wrote Majaya's name on the birth certificate, ran out of the hospital and handed the baby over to her, and Majaya drove away with the baby.
That's weird. Super weird.
She ordered her own child to be raped by a 25-year-old man when she was 14 years old.
Oh, no.
And then she was married off to him. These
are the reasons child marriage is still alive and well in our country today, you guys.
Sick.
Because there are people in power that think this is okay.
So gross.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And our country won't outlaw it.
I can't wrap my head around it. Like, So she got mad at a 13-year-old boy who was a part of the congregation or whatever, who wouldn't procreate with a 13-year-old girl who was a member. That's why she was mad at him. She told him to, and he wouldn't. So she ordered 2 grown men to beat the boy up using socks full of rocks.
Oh, no.
These are like, twice. These guys attacked him twice. And one of the times she stood on her porch and watched it happen and told them to hit him harder.
I hate her.
I know.
Is she alive? Do I have to murder her?
I don't remember. I'm sorry. This was 2 weeks ago.
It's probably better that way.
Yeah, right? I definitely did these and then stopped thinking about them.
Right.
There are a lot more abuse allegations at her hands of children. She was a horrible person, and all I ended this entire thing with was the word bitch.
True. True story.
1000%. The Word of Faith Fellowship. These all sound so innocuous.
Right. Like, it's just the church down the road that you could just go to on Wednesday night.
It was founded in 1979 by Jane and Sam Whaley, which is... The Whaley House is apparently one of the most haunted houses in America. Really interesting. You should listen to the And That's Why We Drink podcast about it. I think it's their second episode.
Nice.
Anyway. One of the first things that I heard about this cult was one of the people who had escaped from it, who said that they would physically and mentally torment people, and that they would set them free in the woods and then chase them down and beat them up because they disobeyed.
Oh. That sounds fun. So what lured them into this cult? They were like, hey you, do you want me to chase you?
I actually have so many answers to that question. Not this specific one, but next week I am going to teach you how to join a cult.
Oh, good.
I mean, maybe how to avoid joining one.
Right.
How to join a cult. According to the Associated Press, members of the fellowship have to follow a list of rules 145 entries long. Some of these rules include not celebrating religious or secular holidays, including Christmas or Easter or your birthday. The congregants are not allowed to watch television, movies, or read newspapers or eat in restaurants that serve alcohol. Men and women must swim with shirts covering their upper bodies and cannot take them off in public, including their own backyards. Men cannot grow beards, which I thought was a really odd one.
Right. Usually cults encourage beards.
Yeah. Followers are not allowed to enroll in college without permission, and if permission is granted, they can only attend alongside other members, so their behavior can be monitored.
You have to have like a
buddy system.
Yeah.
And Whaley has to pick their major. Then they must work for the church or a business owned by church leaders. Whaley's permission is required to buy a house or a car. Current church members have stated that this list of rules is wrong and has never been published or distributed by the church. But, I mean, that's what you would say if you had to follow the rules. There are a lot of stories of former members being beaten, sat in a chair in the middle of a room where they're then screamed at for hours. Members of this have been indicted, thankfully, since like the early 2000s. They've been picking off members of this church and putting them away. I use the word church really vaguely, like cult. And in 2009, there's another location in Brazil. 2 pastors quit and accused the church of brainwashing, which...
I mean...
Duh. The Vampire Clan. That's the next one.
Yay! This one sounds
Sorry
great.
I'm so excited about that.
I mean, it sounds less bad than some of the other ones, honestly.
It's a totally grotesque story, and I'm still like, this is so much lighter.
It's still better.
Founded in the 90s by Rod Farrell. He was a member of a loose-knit gang of teenagers. There were 4 of them who were the main group. In Murray, Kentucky, known as the Vampire Clan. He claimed to be a 500-year-old vampire named Visago, which is a don't laugh until I'm done. Which is a character he created for himself after becoming obsessed with the RPG game Vampire the Masquerade. So, they initiated a girl into the clan, and she claimed that her family was cruel to her, so they killed the family.
Oh, that was nice of them.
They beat him up, killed. I mean, it's just a home entry breaking and entering, beat him up, killed him up, kind of. I'm not making light of the murder. It's just such a I'm a vampire. I'm 500 years old. My name is Vasago. I didn't know this till my mom bought me a computer game a couple days ago.
Now I know everything.
Now I know it all.
Tell me your troubles, child. Oh, your family was mean to you?
My mom is mean.
Let me take care of that for you. I got it.
So, the father, unfortunately, did have burn marks in the shape of a V, and that was his symbol. They got arrested and put away, and he's in now, and he's like, yeah, I thought I was a vampire. It was dumb. It's like the most anticlimactic.
Those are my favorite. Like, remember how I said that wasn't a phase?
It was
totally a phase.
I can't look at black hair and I ever again.
What year was that one?
90s. In the 90s.
Okay. Because I know there was a lot of, like, vampirism that popped up after Queen of the Damned came down.
Yeah, sure.
But Queen of the Damned must have been 2000s, I think.
Did it start with a book, though?
Well, yeah.
The book was out?
The Anne Rice books are all, I mean, it's the Interview with the Vampire and all of those.
Series. Yeah.
And it's part of that.
And it was specifically because of the game Vampire the Masquerade.
Right.
His mom had bought it for him, so I hope he didn't tell her that, because that's rude. And seriously.
It's your fault, Mom. Never would have become a vampire if you didn't buy me this game.
She never hugged me. My very last cult, because this is all I could get through.
I had to stop.
I read too much about cults. Is Los Narcos Satanicos. This one is pretty dark. It was founded in 1986 by Adolfo de Jesus Constanzo. Sometimes hearing myself in my headphones makes me say things really weird. These were drug dealers who were also witches. Yep. This is also a really bad Anne Rice vampire book. They did satanic rituals and spells over their drug deals and over totems that they would then sell to drug dealers, cartel dealers. And the cartels believed it. They bought it all. And so they started with animal parts. Like, I guess you need parts of animals for this kind of thing. And then they thought the cartels would come and watch these rituals. So the guy was like, well, let's make them stronger and let's make them more exciting by using people parts.
Oh,
so he started, no biggie.
That's the logical progression there.
He did start by digging up bodies, which, like, but also...
Better than taking them from live people.
Which is what he moved on to next.
Of course.
You know, fresher is going to make it stronger.
It always escalates.
Always escalates. So they used human parts and human blood. He actually was so popular and he thought so highly of himself, the leader of this cult, went to one of the top cartels where he was at and asked them if he could join their family, so to speak. And they said no. When he was finally... no, I'm skipping ahead. They said no. And 7 members of the family went missing.
Ooh.
Later, they all showed up as bodies, missing parts. One of them was missing a spine.
Ooh.
So they caught this guy, they locked him up, and they found a ton of bodies on his property.
Gosh.
A cartel has to be one of the most protected groups of people.
And scariest to go after.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of...
So he walks up and takes 7 of their members.
Right.
What?
Maybe he really was a witch.
Right?
How was he getting that done? That's crazy.
So a lot of crap. Cults suck.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of things. I don't want to say too much because my whole topic next week is about the inner workings and the brain thought behind a cult. But let me just say, if you think you're immune to them, you're not.
That's crazy.
No
That's the craziest part to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's wild. They're insane.
Mean, even as far as like Scientology,
which is another one.
Which
but
is yeah.
Like,
I mean,
knows about
yeah.
them.
But they're still getting new members and getting new
Despite
people.
All of the
despite like the stories and the rape cases and
murder.
Danny Masterson.
The main dude's wife has disappeared and has never been seen again.
Yeah.
When she started to say she was going to leave him.
And
what?
People are still getting tricked into these. That's insane. Well, so and I won't talk about it too much. Number one, because you went over time. No.
Did I? I did.
But, or maybe not.
Not too bad.
No. But also because you're going to talk about it more next week. But when I was reading about the light one in New York, it like they start out making it sound like this cool group of friends you're going to hang out with. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden children are being murdered. I don't know. It's crazy to me.
Yeah, I
look forward to next week when we get to talk
really
about
excited to tell you guys
the
about
thought processes behind it.
And I'll tell you what in the heck encouraged me to look into this stuff. Because it surprised me as a topic as well. Mm-hmm. I mean, it kind of fits in my whole theme of topics, but yeah, I snorted. All right.
Wow.
So, tell me something I don't know.
I have the cutest topics. Okay, they're not cute topics. But they are because they're counter topics.
Oh, that's right.
So I had some writer's block, and I'm in the middle of election season. I have an election next week, so things have been a little crazy at work. So I am starting a new Connor's Choice topic. I guess probably just when I have writer's block or if Connor thinks of something cool. But I literally looked at my 7-year-old and said, Connor, what should I talk about on the podcast? And the 3 topics he gave me are Minotaurs, Medusa, and that 3-headed dog that I can never say
Cerberus.
His name, Cerberus. I spelled it Cerebus the first time, and I knew that wasn't right. It's Cerebus.
I'm really proud of Connor because after you told me you were doing Connor's Choice, I looked at Carly and said, Carly, what would you want me to talk about? And she was like, Roblox. I was like, we aren't doing Carly's Choice.
Which, honestly, it could have gone either way. Like, this could have been a Minecraft Roblox topic. But we did recently finish watching the first season of Percy Jackson on Disney. And all of these things. No, well, Medusa and Minotaurs are definitely in Percy Jackson. I don't think the dog is.
It is. I don't know if you haven't made it there.
Oh, yeah, it is. Because how else would Connor know about it? Okay, so I'm calling this kid-sized bits of knowledge. Aww. So obviously it's 3 topics in one, so I did the mini versions of this. And it's serving kind of 2 purposes. It helped me hang out with my kid, which I really enjoy, and we talked last month about how my resolution theme for this year is listening. So got to hang out with my kid. And it also reminds me of the meme that goes around that says, growing up sucks because nobody asks you what your favorite dinosaur is anymore. So if you have kid-size bits of information you would like me to talk about, send them my way. Or send them Connor's way, I guess. And
or tell us what your favorite dinosaur is.
Yeah, or just tell me what your favorite... Maybe I'll do a whole dinosaur topic sometime. It would be fun. So all of these, like I said, they're from Greek mythology. We've been watching Percy Jackson recently, so they came up in our lives. Zach and I are very much fantasy-style people, so this is not the first time these characters have come up in our lives. And I was excited to read about them.
I just saw the cutest Minotaur.
So the Minotaur was the hardest topic out of all these three, because there is nothing about the story of the Minotaur that is kid-friendly.
Oh.
If you have, spoiler alert, in Percy Jackson, the Minotaur is the one that chases them to Camp Half-Blood, and at first they think kills Percy's mom. He actually, she ends up in the underworld. But a Minotaur is just a creature that has the body of a man and the head of a bull. And again, that's it. That's the only kid-friendly part about Minotaurs. The rest of the story is that Poseidon gave a white bull to this king it was supposed to be given to him so he could sacrifice it, probably for Poseidon. But it was a really nice white bull, so he decided to keep it instead, which of course made Poseidon angry, and he punished him by making the king's wife fall in love with the bull. And then she had a child with the bull, because, Greek mythology. And that child is the Minotaur.
I love that for her.
Yeah. And obviously the king is not impressed by his wife giving birth to a half bull, half human Minotaur. So he has an escapable labyrinth built and throws the Minotaur in the middle of it. And he just keeps it hostage, basically, in this labyrinth for a while. Can't escape. It's just hanging out in there. And then, again, because Greek mythology and kings, he uses it to punish the Athenians that act against him. So he forces the Athenians to choose 7, essentially, children that have to be sent into the labyrinth each year and then are eaten by the Minotaur. And then the hero of the story is Theseus, with the help of Ariadne, which is the dragon in the Crescent City books. In this story, she is the daughter of this king, and he kills the Minotaur and becomes a hero, and there's drama because she was the son or the daughter of the king, but that's the basics of it. Notable books, movies, and shows that include Minotaurs would be the Chronicles of Narnia, The Voyage of the Dawn Treader, Wrath of the Titans, Inkheart, and obviously Percy Jackson. And Minotaurs should not be confused with manticores, which I was very confused about for a little bit, which is actually a Persian chimera, and you see a manticore in Onward. She's the tavern owner. She has the scorpion tail.
Oh,
She's like a bear scorpion thing. Basically, the Minotaur, the Manticore, they're all some version of chimeras, which are just different animals or monsters or creatures that are all put together. So, that's the Minotaur. The next one is Medusa. This is probably a much more widely known Greek myth. I actually was Medusa for Halloween one year. I have this beautiful picture of myself with a foam wig on that is just a bunch of snakes. It was fantastic. Zach hated it. And there's a ton of history and mythology about Medusa. I don't have time to get into all of it. It could be its own episode or like series of episodes. But basically, she is one of the 3 Gorgon sisters, and these were all powerful, hideous monsters that could turn people to stone just by looking at them. Out of the 3 Gorgon sisters, Medusa is the only mortal one, and is eventually slain by Perseus. Some myths say Medusa was beautiful and was then cursed with the snake hair and cursed to murder people. But in the very earliest myths, she's just a gross stone monster like her sisters, except that she is mortal.
See, that's the one. I've always known the one where she was beautiful and then she got nasty with someone who she got in trouble with, and then one of the gods or goddesses or whatever cursed her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The one I was always familiar.
Same. kept that very short, apparently. Medusa obviously is most recently seen in Percy Jackson. We see her in Hercules, the very old Clash of the Titans from 1981, plus the 2010 version. She's in the Lego Batman movie, Legends of the Hidden Temple, which I forgot even existed as a movie nowadays. And a whole bunch of TV shows. I think she is like a cartoon character in like a teen monster show or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't write much about her because everybody knows who Medusa is. We know that she turns people to stone. She has snakes for hair. But the rest of it's kind of back and forth on whether she started as a beautiful mortal or if she was always just a monster like her sisters. And then Cerberus.
I've always heard and read it as Cerberus.
Cerberus. That's what it looks like to me. This is the three-headed dog of Hades. Yay. Fluffy. In Harry Potter, he is Fluffy, and they put him to sleep by playing music.
But not like forever sleep.
Right. He just sleeps.
Make him doze.
Because he's a puppy.
Yeah.
He guards the underworld, and he's really used more to prevent souls from leaving the underworld than to prevent people from getting into the underworld.
Who tries to do that except for the heroes in all of the books we read?
Exactly. In some myths, he has a mane of snakes, a snake tail, or even up to 50 or 100 heads.
I don't like that.
No, I much prefer the three-headed Fluffy from Harry Potter. In the Hercules story, Hercules' 12th task or final task was to steal Cerberus and bring him back to the world above, alive. He is instructed not to kill him. Along the way, Cerberus' poisonous slobber sprays the earth, which sows the origin story for the lethal plant wolfsbane.
Oh, okay.
And in most of the stories, he gets returned to Hades. Like, even in Greek mythology, they weren't killing the dog, you guys. They were like, no, you leave him alive, you send him back home.
Who's a good boy?
In some stories, Cerberus can be lulled to sleep with music or tricked with treats. So in some stories, he is actually just a cute, fluffy, three-headed dog that guards Hades' underworld and is well-loved. He was Fluffy in Harry Potter. Most legends agree that this guard dog was the offspring of Typhon, which is where the multiple heads come from. Apparently Typhon had, I think, 100 heads. And Echidna?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Which she had a human torso and head, but a giant serpent body. Mm-hmm. So that's where the snakes and the multiple heads come in. Cerberus' siblings include Hydra, which is the multiple-headed snake monster that can regenerate. So you cut off one of her heads and more grow. The Sphinx, which was the body of it had a lion head. What? Body of a lion and the head of a human. I can read my own writing, I swear. Like the pyramids, the Sphinx is in the pyramids. The Nemean lion, which had an impenetrable hide, which is also used in the Hercules stories. He has to use that hide to fight something off, I believe. And a chimera, which has the head of a lion, and a goat's head braying from its midsection, and a tail that was a living snake. So
I think I have a toy of that.
Really?
We got it at a yard sale when Carly was a kid. There was a bunch of Schlesh, those really nice plastic toys.
Yeah.
At a yard sale with dragons, tons of dragons in it. And it was like $5 for everything in the box. So I think I have a Schlesh figure of this.
The chimera with the lion and a goat's head and a snake tail?
And I think it has one other head, maybe. Maybe not. I don't remember. It's down on my D&D stuff because I thought it would be a really fun enemy.
And now it will be. Cerberus appears in many movies or in shows, just like Medusa, including obviously Harry Potter, Once Upon a Time, the TV show that came out a few years ago, Encanto, Hercules, the Disney movie, and the old show with Kevin Sorbo. The movie Scoob. And even apparently in a Simpsons episode last year, which I haven't watched any recent Simpson movies, or shows, and apparently it's the only time it appears in The Simpsons, but it happened within the last year. I think Homer has to deal with the underworld or something. You know how Homer is. And he's obvious.
I swear when you said that though, I was like, no, that's wrong. Like, whatever you just no.
Something's
I know what
wrong.
you said, but it had to be wrong.
It took me a minute, too. I was like, he was in The Simpsons? I just wrote this. 2 weeks ago. I did write this 2 weeks ago.
Right,
and,
yeah.
Oh, it was the same night. So I was writing this. We were watching The Simpsons, and you were telling me that you were writing about cults, and the Simpson episode we were watching, which is from like the 90s, was about cults. So that's why I was like, an episode last year, wasn't I just watching it? But that was the cult episode of The Simpsons. So Cerberus is a good doggy. I love him. I found a cute picture of him versus all the scary ones because I have decided he's a good doggy. Because we already know that I love Hades, so...
And this is kid time.
Yeah.
So
he's a good boy.
This is where we gathered our children round to listen to the podcast.
So for this podcast, you can listen to half of it with your children, but not all of it.
I wouldn't even go as far as half. I don't know if I'd let my kids listen to the opening. My kids, by the way. Surprise!
You are hiding things from me, Danica.
Darn it. I meant the dogs.
You should definitely let the dogs listen to it.
I've thought about dressing my dogs up as Cerberus for Halloween, but one of my dogs is old and hates.
That's true.
Literally, like, everything about my other two dogs.
It would not work well.
But maybe I could just get a stuffed one. Yeah. Put it between the two of them. They'd rip it up. There's no world in which this works unless I put them like...
I was going to say, also you'd have to have your two dogs tied together. And I just don't see that going really well.
They are sisters, so they do get along really well. And if they're they're like those geese from Lady and the Tramp, the do 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 do, and their butts wag along, and they like walk side by side, touching each other.
Oh, that's cute.
So it would work. This is why I've thought of it. But my other dog is not going to have anything to do with it.
No, Sawyer says screw you.
Absolutely.
Don't even think about it.
Get off my yard.
They make you could get Sawyer her own three-headed dog costume and then also dress the girls up with a third head, and you will have two.
And we'll have a
Cerberuses.
six-headed Cerberus, except one won't go by the other ones and keeps growling at them, and they keep running away.
I love it.
I could just dress Sawyer up as the dog man of Michigan for Halloween.
I'm in.
I just don't feel like he's got enough airtime this episode.
No, not at all. We only mentioned him once.
Yeah, what are we doing here? What is wrong with us? So, I absolutely love your bite-sized information, and I love Greek mythology, so tell me more.
It was fun to research. Like I could do a whole 10-week series about different Greek mythology. Actually, honestly, I probably wouldn't choose Greek mythology, even though that is what I have focused on thus far. I would probably start with like Celtic mythology.
Sure. With
the Tuatha De Danann, but that's only because, I'm obsessed with Kevin Hearn and his Iron Druid books. So.
What?
What?
Are you
Since when?
I don't believe it. It's like you've been lying to me our whole lives for 10 years.
It's not like I say his name every episode, hoping that he's our one listener from Canada.
Maybe he'll travel to Muskegon and say hi to us.
He should.
Carly said Pedro Pascal is coming.
He's in Phoenix right now, so it totally makes sense for him to jump back over to Michigan.
In 3 weeks. Like, yeah. Come on, man.
It might be beautiful here.
Oh, I hope the girls from And That's Why We Drink come visit us.
We should invite them too.
I would cry. Like, they're very normal. I would probably make them feel really awkward because they're very normal people who, like, they've not let being whatever, I guess, however famous you feel like they are, go to their heads. They sell out shows across the country. So, I mean, they're somewhat famous.
Right.
And they're so normal. And they would probably
just
feel
burst
so
into tears, like
awkward.
sobbing tears. You're my hero.
Can I hug you? And they'd be like, really? No, because we need personal space.
Please stop.
Which is why they're so relatable and why I want to hug them. So I guess that's it.
That's it.
This is Dungeons and Dopamine Podcast.
You can listen to us anywhere you hear podcasts.
Yeah, and you can support us on Patreon, www.patreon.com/dungeonsdopamine.
You can also find us on Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and even Reddit.
That was a nice dramatic pause there. We'll pretend it was intentional.
Yes, it was. It was intentional.
Duh.
I like to add some drama here at the end.
You can find. Oh no,
Our
we already
snake
did
jazz
that.
is getting better.
It's amazing. You can reach out to us on any of those social medias, snakejazz.net or dungeonsandopamine at yahoo. Dungeonsdopamine at yahoo.com. I got carried away.
She's really excited about snake jazz. Our first album is going to be just snake jazz.
Dungeons and Dopamine magazine featuring snake jazz.
Dungeons and Dopamine is edited and published by Argyle Pigeon Productions, who we appreciate. Pigeon jazz?
Oh, yes!
This is our
such a spike in the sound.
This is our animal jazz album.
Moo jazz?
I don't know how to make moo jazz.
Chicken jazz. You know how to make chicken Anyway, thanks if you stuck around this long. We love you so much.
You.
Okay, bye.